Welcome back. So in last week's video I showed you the capability of the editor to create a level or scene, put a player in it and then play the level and switching back and forth between game mode and engine mode. So you could make quick iterations in the level you're working on. But one of the big shortcomings was the inability to actually save your progress or to load different levels while you're working. That's rectified now in this iteration. So you can now save and load as you please. So to show you guys how it works, I'll just make like a small scene. So add a cube, make it a little bigger, add a collision to this cube, and try to match it roughly where the cube is. Doesn't have to be precise for this little video. Right, add a player to it, add a few point lights to the scene. And this is essentially what I showed you guys last week's video. So the ability to switch back and forth between the editor and the game, make changes and keep playing and go back and forth. Now what we can do now is actually save our progress in a different file. And now we can open this file and we'll load the scene as we had it. Nothing much seems changed, so to show you guys actually works, I can open a few other levels. So collection is just a collection of all the basic shapes I have in the editor and 2 point lights. And we can now jump back to the test level we just made, which you see is there, and everything just works just fine. So other little levels I made is this one, which is very similar to the test level I showed you guys last week, even though with less funky lights and a little bit smaller. But I think level 2 is the one with the funky lights. It's slightly different, it's got additional light source, but nonetheless it all works. And you'll notice that some of the things I talked about where the editor little meshes would still be visible in the game, that's all rectified now. So go to the game, you'll see that all the meshes that are only relevant for the editor are no longer there. So only the game, basic stuff relevant to the game is actually inside here, which is quite good. Another thing you might have noticed is this little scene graph on the right hand side. So one of the things I'm working on at the moment is to improve the GUI used for the editor. So I'm currently working on a menu bar. So all these individual frames will be hidden in like a menu bar with basically like open, close and like a drop down menu. I mean, it's more or less already there. I just need to have like one nice menu bar, make the viewport slightly smaller. So everything's nicely tucked away instead of like all these floating frames all over the place, which is not very handy and not really sustainable. If we add more stuff to it, it would be one big window full of like frames, which is not very handy to work with. But yeah, SceneGraph displays all the nodes and leaves that are part of this scene, excluding the ones that are only relevant for the editor. So see, we've got something selected here, so all the individual cubes that will basically render on every vertex, all the normal lines won't be there. The outline of the bounding boxes are not represented here, so only the lights and meshes that actually have impact on the game itself, not the stuff we just use for debugging or aid with the editing of stuff. So that's all I wanted to show you so far. That were the other ones. Level 3 is the same, and 4 is just basically like a little plane we just made for a little test level, albeit a little bit thinner plane. So yeah, so now I can actually load and save our work and continue and build bigger and better things. So the focus for me for the next few weeks will be to improve the GUI so it's easier to work with and to tuck away all these floating frames into menu items so they don't just take up space where you don't actually need them. Another thing as well is to be able to make like docking windows, so you can say, okay, this right hand corner of the screen will just be for displaying, say, the scene graph information. As you resize a frame, the proportion will be the same, so it won't. So yeah, proportion will be like this, takes up the same amount of space relative to the rest of the viewport. And we please want to move away from textured basic menu items, so basically move to something that's purely rendered by the shaders. But give like 1 or 2 colors and you use kind of gradient or something, because I'm not a texture artist at all, so I want to move like a more simpler art style I can actually reproduce myself. It's more consistent, and also look into change the fonts, because what I'm using at the moment are fonts made by me. As you might see, it's not great, but does the job for now. But it'd be good to get some better fonts in and use like a different way of rendering these, so they actually scale better as you resize windows and resize the fonts. Because this works fine on this size, but if you make it any smaller, it becomes unreadable, which is not really great. But yeah, so next update will probably be the GUI update. And after that, actually gonna try an attempt to make a bigger level and also incorporate within the editor ways to add game-specific elements to it. So things like volume triggers or weapon pickups or all these kind of things. So you can actually go about and actually start making a little game in this editor. Because for now, you can basically move around your little level, but it's not much to do. There's no shooting, there's no pickups, there's nothing is going on. Just shooting collisions. So you can make a platformer, but there's no win state, there's no way to do any of that stuff at the moment. But they'll probably be after I've updated the GUI so it looks a bit more representable, and I can basically move all these windows out of the way so I don't take up as much space as do currently. Cool, that's all I've got for you this time. So hopefully in a few weeks I can report on the GUI update, and after that we should be in good shape to start building bigger levels and then actually start producing games, at which point the AI can finally start kicking in and hopefully do some interesting stuff with that as well. But for now, that's all for me, and see you guys later. Bye bye.